Hi. This has been kind of a long time coming. I meant to do this. Well, I did the other two once, but I never really took the time. I'm going to be doing ED3. This will be a melee solo voiceover walkthrough. I'm not going to repeat spawns. I'm just going to do a full run and explain what I'm doing and why. And I will be making it, in my opinion, the easiest possible way. Because the idea of this is to teach others not to optimize anything to shreds or beat any personal records. The obvious thing is you can do any other style than melee if you want to. Generally, people use melee or magic. I have seen instances of using range. I don't think it's that effective. You can change this around pretty much as you want. I will be using trim masterwork with a regular masterwork plate-like switch just for the Undead Slayer, because it works on Terraket and the zombies. My inventory is just a bunch of weapon switches. This Kopesh's CJS Maul works on boss number 2 and 3, which is excellent. And Scythe is for clearing mobs and for flanking. There's a launch switch. I don't know how much I'm going to use that. Don't really need to bring that if you don't want to, but every bit of DPS helps. The Salve Amulet also works on Terraket. Some extra damage, which is cool. Defender, not really useful until you get to Ambassador. A couple of vulnerability bombs, the runes for Disruption Shield and Vengeance and whatever you might want to do. Elder Overload, Power Burst, doesn't really matter. You can use a regular Overload or Supreme Overload and then any kind of Adrenaline Potion iteration you want. Spiritual Praise, because I'm using a Titan, you can just as well Yak or Mammoth this. Kind of up to you. If you use the Mammoth, then Spiritual Prayer, obviously. If you use a Yak for some reason, which you should not, then any other kind of prayer potion. Turn on your aura, Berserker or Mage, or Maniacal if you're maging. Probably shouldn't be watching this if you're maging though. First thing you want to do, kill all the crabs. Go over here and deal with the 3 by the barrier. Clear out the little ones. Same story here. In here you kill these 2. They're gonna spawn a bunch of crabs, none of which are essential. So just do the 2 mages. Kill these 2 named Crescent Scout. And then these 2. Over here you need to kill these zombies and these zombies. I'm gonna be attacking this guy just because he's here. Let the zombies pile up around me, and then as soon as they get in within reasonable range to all the different types of AoEs that I have with the Scythe. There is also a very rare tertiary drop from this guy. A sword that's worth like 50 million-ish. It's honestly not something that I would recommend actively going for because it's impossibly rare, but you might as well. You're gonna be walking to this area to gather up all the zombies anyway. As soon as they're dead, that barrier should open. Finish the boss. There, our mini boss. Bunch more of these. Then you gotta drop these two guys by the barrier and the small crabs. As soon as the barrier opens up, you can either run in directly into the boss fight, or in this case, since I want to be talking a little bit about it before, I'm just gonna dummy up. This guy, he's not really that difficult. He has insane KO potential if you fuck something up. But the only thing that can really go wrong here is that if you either stand directly in front of him when he's doing the Dragon Breath attack, or if you're not running to the side sufficiently when he's doing his sweep. The sweep will attack in a conal shape in front of him and will hit you if you're standing anywhere in front of him. But if you stand directly to the side on either side, it will be fine to use the scythe and continue to attack the boss. Just mind your footing a little bit. You absolutely do not need to do this natural instinct, it's just a convenience. Another thing that can be useful if you're meleeing, vulnerability bombs on this boss is kind of weird. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. They have to go under his head, so I tend to just do a regular vuln circle rotation here. Move to the side. Bleed your threshold. And then you can move in, using dual wielding for a little bit more DPS if you want to. He's going to bite me once or twice. And then do that. Move to the side again. CGS if you have it. Ideally, you can place the CGS right in front of him and you won't miss the boost like I'm doing there for 2 attacks. Then move back in and carry on using dual wields. Same story again. 2 auto attacks. Then sweep. Switch to the scythe. At this point, you can either Cirque Barge again and hope to finish it off before he goes to the other side. It's kind of unlikely, but it's a PR strategy if you want to get a really fast kill. I'm just going to do it the normal way. Use Freedom or Anticipation when you're running across this so you don't get stunned. And then stand on the side to avoid the Dragon Breath. Move in for dual wields. Boss dead. It's really not that difficult. You'll be soul splitting the entire fight. You're probably not going to use any food. You might if you screw up and take some of the typeless damage. But mostly that guy is just a DPS dummy. Go through all of these. Get to the barrier and kill the zealot and the tiny crabs. Bunch of zombies again. If you really want to optimize this, you can just throw on the Salve Amulet, and if you have an undead sigil, use it before your meteor strike. Gonna hit a bit higher. Clear them out, run through this area. In this room you can go on either side. I tend to go on this side, barge the Necromancer, throw either bleed or any other kind of threshold on him, and then go and clear these 3. Once the barrier opens, go through the door. You can reload your preset here if you want to. For this bit, you can either pray melee or soul split. It doesn't really matter. I tend to pray melee just to minimize the damage. You want to kill the Necromancer standing on each of the corresponding barriers. None of the other skeletons matter. If you feel like you're taking a bit of damage near, you might be tempted to use your devotion. Do not do that. You're going to need it for the bridge. Bridge is the next bit here. Open both these Blackstone artifacts. Switch your prayer to range. Preferably have at least threshold adrenaline. Go through here, use your devotion. Barge one of these creatures, throw an assault bleed, and then AoE. If you get it done fast enough, it's going to extend your devotion timer like it does there, which helps a lot with the damage from these rangers coming off the walls. Run over here. If you're going to use Bladed Dive, use it on one of the mages and make sure they die quickly so it resets. Bladed Dive is useful for the next bit. This next bit, there's a couple of guys over here. You want to avoid them because you don't need to kill them. So ideally you can Bladed Dive to the center of this stair and then surge to the next bit. That way. If you do that, they're not going to see you. They won't follow you afterwards, and you can either you clear this entirely and run straight into the boss, kind of depending on food usage, or you can, in peace and quiet, reload your preset without being attacked by 6 assholes at the same time. The damage they deal is really not that bad, but it's annoying. See the barriers open? Clear whatever you want to be able to do this. Reload your preset and go in. At this point you want to take on your Salve Amulet. This is the place it does the most. And for Terra Kit you can use vulnerability bombs rather than regular ones. Barge the boss. Use your Undead Sigil if you have it. Standard circle rotation, nothing really fancy. As soon as that's done, kick him towards the west area and then go deal with this. This portal is going to spawn a bunch of skeletons on you. You really just want to clear that out. And if it reaches 0 before you finish its HP, it's going to explode and deal some typeless damage. See Terra Kit switch to range. He's using the Death Swiftness animation. Whenever he does that, just change your prayer to range, because all of his auto attacks are going to be range for a while. And as soon as he reaches 200k life points, he's going to fly over here and spawn this next minion. Because I kicked him to this area, he will always spawn this one first, which is easier because he deals more damage. So, standard circle rotation. Kill this guy. You can soul split until Terra Kit start attacking again. Then you want to switch back to mage. As soon as he's dead, go back to Terra Kit. At this point, Terra Kit's going to spawn another minion over here. This guy doesn't deal as much damage, and it's kind of up to you whether or not you want to actually kill it, or if you just want to tank it and finish the boss. For the purpose of this, I'm going to tank it. Since I am using the Vamp Scrim, this is not that difficult. And at this point, you should be ready to do the Undead Sigil and an Adrenaline Potion again. Finish as much as you're comfortable with of your Berserk rotation before you move on to this. Just so you get a lot of damage out on the actual boss. It's going to start ranging and spawn a bunch of ghosts. Run through them quickly. If you stay in the line of them, like if they cross you, they're going to deal melee damage to you, which is unnecessary. Carry on dealing damage to the boss. At this point, I'm just going to ignore the portal because the boss is only 50k life points. It's very likely that he's going to die before the portal expires, which will despawn it. Switch back to Mage Prayer when he stops using DS animation. And Tarek gets dead. There's many ways to deal with that guy. You can do it quite a lot faster if you choose to tank the big minion as well. It's going to be awkward and you will be taking insane amounts of damage, but that is the current strategy for PR attempts. Also, you see that I'm using a Scrimshaw Vampirism here to make this easier for everyone who's still learning. You can just as well use a Grimoire and try to make sure you push out way more damage. Since the Grim lifts your damage cap to 15k, it's extremely useful at a boss where you can stack up so many damage bonuses from the Salve Amulet, the Sigil, and the Maul. Kill this Calgarian demon. Can ignore the other ones. Run through here. When you get around this corner, again, kill the Necromancer. Then go to the other side and kill the other Necromancer. The skeletons that spawn are always going to be non-essential to carry on. Another neck. And then the final neck. Go over here and dive off the edge. Depending on how much supplies you used on Terrakit, you can reload your preset here again. You will be taking a bit of damage from the mobs coming through the next part. Go near the barrier and clear everything in sight. For this next bit, pray magic, because the warped skeletons actually deal surprisingly high damage for being regular mobs. And then repeat the same thing. These guys have to die. The warped skeletons have to die. The shit they spawn doesn't have to die, but it's unavoidably going to if you use AoE abilities. And then for this next bit, make sure you move along this wall, because over here there's a mini-boss that's going to aggro on you if you don't. See that? You don't want that to happen. clear these things. I'm just going to kill this guy. You can just as well teleport out and reset the barrier. So Ambassador, you're going to think a little bit differently. You can dump your lucky charms back in the bank. Get another brew, and then I'm going to take 3 sailfish soups, which are sort of the in-case shit foods if you need to heal a little bit more in a short time, sorry, I'm tired. First thing that Ambassador is going to do is throw a magic attack on you, so use a disruption shield when you're dummying up for the fight. Otherwise you can, if you don't have disruption, you can just run in pray magic and then switch to range prayer. Doesn't really matter, but it's an easy way to mitigate some of the damage. Run in with 100% adren, make sure everything's ready. Circ barge rotation. Do your assault, and then destroy it. Go into flurry, and now he's going to drop a smoke on me. After that, he uses a melee attack. Pray switch that if you want to. Let the smoke drop, and then move to the other side of the boss. CGS if you have it. Otherwise keep DPSing as normal. Black hole over there can either be stunned with a basic, or you can use reprisal. I'm going to reprisal in this case, because I want to send that damage back to the boss. This is one of the times you may want to use one of the sailfish soups, kind of depending on how nervous you are about dropping low. Move off, res, back in, throw another hurricane or whichever threshold you want, just for good measure. And then go over here to this area. Now he's going to do the spin thing, spawn a bunch of these fragments. They need to die. They need to die completely. You don't want to be leaving one of these on low HP because it's pointless. For each one of the fragments surviving at the end of this, he will do a special attack, which is kind of a typeless bomb that deals a shit ton of damage. So ideally you only want one of these to be left alive, because that one you can either res or disruption shield. If there's 2 of them, it's also fine, because you can res one and disrupt the other. But the goal at this point should be to kill 5 of them. And then make sure you finish this attack at 100%. Do another Von Bomb. Circ rotation, and disrupt that. That special attack comes after his first auto, so wait till you take 1 range hit and then use the disrupt. Move to this side for this smoke. That was suboptimal, kind of. I still have 1 square here, so it's fine. But ideally you want to have a 4x4 area in front of the boss. Same story again with the black hole. Reprisal. Use one of your Rocktail soups now if you want to, and then when the boss hits 540 or 550k life points, he's gonna spawn these minions. Ignore them. Go over here. And now that the smoke is planted in a square around me, that means he's gonna stop using his special attack, which makes the next bit a little bit easier. So that way you just stand here and deal damage. As soon as you pass 400k, stop wasting supplies, because Serio is gonna appear over there and heal you to full. Doesn't matter what your life points is. Carry on DPSing the boss. And after Serio clears the room, Ambassador is gonna go into his final phase. When he turns around, if you want to, you can flank him there. At this point you just want to DPS. And switch your prey to range. Keep your life points reasonably high during this next bit, because you don't want to fuck this up. And then walk in a circle around Ambassador to block these white smoke clouds from hitting him, because if they're white, they're going to heal him. If they're black, they do nothing. After a couple of attacks, he's going to do this. Throw your Mage Prey on, use Devotion. And as soon as that stops dealing damage to you, do another Circle Rotation and another Vulnerability Bomb. For the next bit, you want to have your Adrenaline reasonably high, and your life points preferably kind of high as well, because he's going to do another one of those specs. So throw your shield on, use a res, disruption shield, and then a reflect. And then just kill the boss. So that was suboptimal-ish. Easy strategy. Vamp Scrim instead of Grimoire if you don't have one of those. You can use the Grimoire as well. Kind of depends on how comfortable you are around food usage. Kill time was 454, which is avid. It's not perfect, but it's decent. And drop in this case, let's see this chest. That was a 3.9 million run. Because this last boss is probably the most difficult out of all 9 of them in the different 3 dungeons, I'm gonna do another one. I will be doing the same strategy and everything as I did the last time. I'm just gonna do it once more and see if anything happens that I need to comment on. So again, Circ, a pot, barge, Vuln Bomb, bleed your assault, then a destroy. Melee prayer, back to range, drop the smoke and run, CGS. Reprisal. Run out to the side. Rest. If you don't want that to happen, you can use target cycling to target one of these spinners. I tend to forget to do that all the time. They are kind of hard to click as they come running out. Done. Vuln Bomb again. Disrupt. Not sure if I messed. No, I didn't. Never mind. Thought I messed that bleed up, but it was fine. Carry on DPSing the boss. Step to this side. CGS. Now there will be minions. This time I planted the smokes a little bit more optimally. Reprisal. Absolutely not necessary. You can just as well blade a dive over to the thing and just backhand it. It's completely fine. Carry on DPSing. Again, because of the smoke formation, he won't be doing any more smokes or black holes. So now it's just waiting for Seru. Revuln. Forgot to do that. Sneaky flank there. Oh, good lunge. And then pray mage and use devotion. Final Circ Burst, make sure you use your Adrenaline Potion for this. So you don't want to be caught with too low Adren when the next spec happens. Eat up if you have Adren to sacrifice. Switch to Mage. Res. Reflect. Disruption Shield. Gives a bit of food. CGS again. And kill the boss. There you go. That was one of the shittiest drops there is. Black Stone Arrows. Well, I got the D-Hide as well, I guess. Again, 454. It's not optimal, but workable. Absolutely a good pace if you can keep that up. By any means, anything below like 530, you should consider it a pretty successful strategy. I think current world record is something absurd like 345 or whatever. Current clan record is 425. My personal record is 439. That's the wrong boss. Yeah, 39. But that's with a Grimoire and a little bit more exotic shit, like using Natural Instinct on the second to last spinner and using Dragon Battle Axe at the beginning of the fight and using more expensive food supplies to not have to brew as much, keep my stats higher, stuff like that. You can also do it with a Mammoth if you'd rather do that. The current clan second time, which is 3 seconds faster than mine, was done with a Mammoth instead of a Titan. So the trade-off there would be to sacrifice the DPS of the Titan scrolls or Titan specs in favor of using Blubberfish and Gothic Stress and not ruining your stats. But yeah, when you get these runs down quickly enough, you're going to be closing in on the 20-minute mark. I would personally say when learning, don't really sweat the full run time. As soon as you're down to be doing 2 full runs every hour or aura, you're going to be pretty fine. Aura-wise, if you don't want to use Berserker, it's kind of up to you. I prefer it because it makes it way easier to clear the fragments, and just in general, more DPS is beneficial everywhere. Other options you have are obviously the March Aura if you want to take less damage, and then you can also use Dark Magic because the nature of this target being high life points and a continuous fight, Dark Magic is really effective. But yeah, that's ED3. There's not a lot to it. Take some practice. It's the steepest learning curve of the 3, but also has the highest jackpot drop potential. Common loots, kind of bad, not great. You're going to be averaging like 4 million a run, thereabouts. But absolutely worth doing if you want to just mix everything up. It's also kind of fun. And it is one of these places that if you do this a lot, you're going to end up becoming a better PVMer overall because you need to practice a lot of different strategies and different like small details, like the disruption shield timings and some burst damage rotations, etc. So this is going to be useful knowledge in general. But yeah, thanks for watching. I hope this works. Otherwise, just DM me on Discord or talk to me in Clan Shadow, whatever. I'll be happy to help. See you. Move away. Really?